Guess who's back? Back again. Jochem's back, tell a friend. No, all jokes aside, let's get cracking again. Very warm welcome back. I hope that this audio is going to keep syncing because I'm running a couple of tasks in the background, the video actually. So hey, let's keep going. Video, logos, statement, boom, you know it. You've seen it in the video above. Anyway, what is strategy? We just spoke about, what is strategy not, right? And it's this sort of perfectly competitive market environment. Now, strategy is then about creating these market imperfections, right? It's about achieving a sustainable competitive advantage. That is, beating the competition to make profits. Strategy is then really about trying to create these small market imperfections, right, in this perfectly competitive market. So you're trying to find ways of either, finding loopholes or so in the environment, so what people are doing or not doing, or, using your own resources, financial resources, material resources, any other type, to knowledge, to create, these new ways of creating value, right? So, TikTok or Douyin, in terms of digital, really creating this superb algorithm, right? That can really translate, the data from your usage into perfect predictions almost about what you want to see often. That is a resource then that can achieve you a sustainable competitive advantage by creating a market imperfections. Let's dive a little bit into that definition, because definitions are important. Strategy is then about creating this plan, etc., for creating this sustainable competitive advantage, and ways of implementing that, creating a profit, or in terms of firms or public firms, like customer satisfaction. But competitive advantage is then when implementing a value creating strategy that not simultaneously being implemented by any current or potential competitor. So a value creating strategy, right, that's not simultaneously being implemented by any current or potential customer. So you are creating value that is not out there, that's difficult, or at least not at that moment implemented by somebody else. So you create a small market imperfection. You create a value creating strategy, you deliver either value through products or services that gives unique value. And how do you do that? How do you get there? That's strategy. Now there's a difference between a sustainable or a sustained competitive advantage. Then there's also this implementing a value creating strategy, not simultaneously being implemented by any current or potential competitor. When these firms are unable to duplicate the benefits of that strategy. So they cannot duplicate it. They're not able to copy paste your strategy, right? And you see that, for example, in a company like TikTok or Douyin, where there's not, it's difficult to actually, copy that strategy, to emulate it, to simulate it, to really, copy it, duplicate. There you see how they create a sustainable value creating strategy. And how you do that is by, finding out, developing knowledge about, for example, algorithms and customer data collection, and all of that adds up to a value creating strategy. That's what strategy is about. And how do you do that? That's really by going through these two frameworks. Are we there already? No. Oh, here's a list of overview of strategies. You have, for example, cost price leadership, differentiation, typical strategic issues. Not super relevant, this. Strategy can be defined, here's your definition, as the direction and scope of an organization over the long term, which achieves advantage in a changing environment through its configuration of resources and competences at the aim of fulfilling stakeholder expectations. Here are all the directions and scope of the long term, achieves an advantage in a changing environment through its configuration of resources and competences with the aim of fulfilling stakeholder expectations. This is Peppered and Ward over there, you can see this is the book, which I hope you found. That is an integrated set of actions aimed at increasing the long-term well-being and strengths of the enterprise relative to competitors. Here's your definition of strategy. So we're just going to keep going with that. All of that is then about matching the internal and external environment, right? So as I already explained, business strategy you're looking at what's the internal environment doing, where can I create these unique value strategies by either seeing what they are not doing or by looking at what do I have and actually sort of the overlap between it, especially in a digital environment. I get to that. But here it's about matching what you have inside to the external environment, a traditional point of view. Lots of tools, etc. Boston Metrics, Pestle, SWOT, FRIN. We're going to do the FRIN thing as well, and the 5 forces by Porter. Let's have a look at that 5 forces. Now, 5 forces is, maybe you've already had it. I believe most of you have had it in the second year, but we're going to look at it again because in a digital environment, this framework, right, can be applied in a very helpful way because it looks at 5 forces in the external world. So what are my competitors doing? And also, all of the resources that I need that are external to the firm. So you have 5 forces: bargaining power of suppliers, the suppliers basically, bargaining power of customers on the other side, threat of substitute products or services, third one. Fourth one is the threat of new entries, barriers to entry, so the threat of new entrants or new entrants. Is it, do they get easily into the market? And the fifth one is the rivalry among existing customers, right? Among competitors, is there high rivalry? And typically what you do in this is that you score it sort of on, some sort of metric. I typically use, low, medium, high. So you're going to look at an organization and think, okay, who are the suppliers? Now let's take, for example, from a Tesco, right? The supermarket we all know. Who are the suppliers? Well, you have all of these, the vegetable suppliers, product suppliers, right? They supply the things that they're actually selling. Now, do they have a lot of bargaining power? You could say on the one hand, well, they can also sell to other companies like Sainsbury's or like Aldi, or maybe they can even do it nowadays online. So, but you could say, on that sort of respect, maybe. But on the other hand, Tesco may be the biggest market provider, so they have the highest output, so you want to deliver to them. So do they have a lot of bargaining power? Not really in that respect. Because, so I would score it low because Tesco is the biggest provider, the biggest market cap, I guess. And it sort of has a big customer base as well. Etc. So you can score it low. On the other hand, you can also say, well, do they have a big bargaining power? Nowadays, more and more, you can also sell online, all right? So you can also go to these channels. Maybe you can sell it by yourself. So there is some room. But, let's say that if you really are a big producer of products, supermarket products, one of the places you go through is Tesco. And you may have some others, but you have not a lot of switching room typically. So let's say low. Now you can also look at threat of substitute products or services for Tesco, and one maybe meal deliveries or restaurants, right? Really substitute things. So not organizations that do the same thing like Aldi or Sainsbury's, which basically deliver the same product. Those would be the competitors. A substitute is something that is different but competitive, right? So it can be used as a alternative, basically, that you don't need to do the other. Like, for example, a restaurant or a coffee shop or so. Those would be substitutes for a supermarket like Tesco, something like that. Buyers you have there. Do they have a lot of bargaining? Do you have a lot of bargaining power for Tesco? Who knows? Maybe not. Maybe you do. That is for you to score, right? So there's not a super objective value like we discussed last time. It's sort of in the middle. Rivalry among existing competitors. You can look into that. Again, you have Aldi, Sainsbury's, whoever. Those are competitors that you are beating and rivals with. Is that high, medium, or low? Again, for you to sort of market and argue for it. In this case, I would say it's quite high. It's a strong market over here. And then lastly, the barriers to entry. How easy is it to enter this market? Now, again, what I would say is that for a good argument, in this case, you can say, it's low because you need a lot of resources to set up, a supermarket chain. On the other hand, again, with the with the rise of the internet and digital environments, online marketplaces, there is, that barrier to entry is lowering, because you can also do stuff like these food delivery things are doing. What is it called? Omada? No. Anyway, who deliver boxes at home, for example, or deliver supermarket products at home. Those are lowering the barriers of sort of what it means to do grocery delivery. So you are scoring this. So you can say high, low, medium, and then what you do is, you always say, okay, it's low, but given this, you can also say it's going up or not. You're making that call. But you need to argue well for it, okay? So what I encourage you to do is basically go at home and try and make this up like a high, medium, low scoring, and you can draw this picture and you can do like plus, minuses, to say, and low, medium, and then sort of make the sum and assess the external environment of organizations like Tesco or like Ryanair. You see, there's room in the slides for doing that. Please do so at home. You can try, and it's all about practicing, and then you go from there. In the next video below, we'll be looking at the resource-based view as well, also for an organization like Tesco. And the other day I was there, so share some experience with me. Really going to look at digital resources. See you down below. Thank you, and really practice with this framework. All right, it's really important to practice this, and we're also going to do that in class, but practice with it. See you, and in the seminar, see you below in the final task video of this week. Till then.